today. Thank you.
Yeah, let's move on to a question from Assembly Member Twycross, poverty in London.
Thank you for your question. I agree that this time of year can be very difficult for those not only living in poverty, but also for the elderly and other vulnerable people. Theresa May came into power promising to tackle injustice, improve social mobility and improve the lives of the poor. However, as the recent resignation of the entire Social Mobility Commission demonstrates, her government's focus has been catastrophically diverted from this commitment. This is not good enough for London or for the people of this country. I'm doing all I can to force the government to maintain its focus on vital issues such as the scale of poverty across the country and in London in particular. We know the disproportionate effect that welfare reforms introduced since 2010 have had on London, be it the 15,500 households currently having their income slashed by their benefit cap, the 2,500 tenants already at the risk of eviction, having moved onto universal credit, or simply the 1 million plus London households that have seen their incomes fail to keep track with the cost of living. The recent London poverty profile highlighted the alarming rise in the number of London households experiencing deep poverty. The powers and resources I have as Mayor in this area are limited, but have lobbied ministers to acknowledge and act upon the effect these policies are having in London. Most recently, I've written to the Secretary of State for Work and Pensions to highlight the effect that the rollout of universal credits is having in London and the inadequacy of the measures announced at the budget. My housing strategy calls upon the government to reconsider the inadequate levels of financial support for private renters on low and middle incomes through the benefits system, which is fueling homelessness. I've secured £4.2 million for rough sleeping, including the social impact bonds, to provide intensive support to the 350 most entrenched rough sleepers this winter. And I'll be running a campaign this winter to highlight the support available to rough sleepers and to encourage Londoners to help. And I'll be working with boroughs to understand the effect that the rollout of universal credit is having on low-income families in London. I'm also taking action to address the root causes of poverty in London through promoting the London living wage, my new good work standard, increasing the provision of genuinely affordable homes, freezing TfL fares and continuing my hopper fare. And my fuel poverty action plan will also deliver heating and insulation measures, as well as supporting existing local fuel poverty support schemes to help more Londoners struggling with their energy bills.
Thank you. And thank you for writing to the Secretary of State, which is an issue that you mentioned a couple of mayor's questions ago, so appreciate that. It's 75 years since the publication of the Beveridge report, and one of the things that sort of runs through the report is the notion, almost Beveridge's mantra, of the abolition of want, but yet 75 years later, although poverty might manifest itself in a slightly different way, there is still quite extreme levels of poverty that some people in London are experiencing. How long do you think it will be before we can see the abolition of want in London?
I think there's no one agency or one government branch that can solve this by themselves. And the bad news is there's no prospect from central government having the solutions to addressing the issue of want. I've got an announcement tomorrow which will take some steps towards stymieing the increase in rough sleeping. We've plateaued it over the last 12 months. It was going up over the last 8 years, doubling. By itself is not enough though. Charities are working their socks off. 18 charities are working with me in the announcement tomorrow. Councils are working really hard, but without central government change of policy, I can't see a radical departure from where we are. And so ultimately, we'll need a change of government, and for that government to have time to turn things around.
Thank you. And food banks, as you know, have raised concerns that they'll run out of food this Christmas because the demand is likely to be so great because of the impact of some of the benefit changes, particularly the rollout of universal credit. What can be done and what can you do to help food banks ensure they have enough food and support this Christmas? Well,
I think all of us in this assembly have got social media outlets we can use to encourage the public to donate more. More than 90% of food that goes to food banks comes from the public. And so all of us ourselves should think about donating, but use social media outlets to encourage people to donate to their local food bank. The Trussell Trust does some remarkably good work around this. There are other organisations that are now helping. The Felix Project we know about from the Even Standard. Fair Share as well doing good work here. All of us can do things to help. The London Food Strategy from next year will be announcing plans to help in this area as well. But you know, the bad news is there's an increased demand on food banks for the reasons you've outlined, that they're using up the stocks they have, and so all of us can help them backfill their stocks by donating to food banks.
Thank you.